How are you getting on, folks? Look at Nace was out of this world, really, when you think of it, all things considered. Um, with the three patron picks as well, we had the likes of Backuson, 13-8 winner, Mr. Incredible, 2-1 winning Nap. Eatla de Rear, I think it went out to 11-4, but it was tipped up at 5-2. Lana Rygg was the only each way bet of the day. That was 6-1. That came in third. Um, and Billway then the next best at 5-4. I can honestly say, look, that's as good and as close to a clean sweep as you're going to get. Obviously, looking for the YouTube tips, I'm absolutely delighted for all of you that might have got on. My phone has been hopping the past couple of days, wondering where I've been, but just the fact that there's been no national hunt racing on in Ireland, I decided to take a bit of a break, and I suppose bask in the glory more so than anything else. Moving on to tomorrow. Now, I don't know if you can hear, but I'm nearly sure you can. The rain is fairly hopping down. It's non-stop. Down Ryler having an inspection tomorrow at, I think it's 7:30. Just to confirm whether racing can go ahead. Look, at fingers crossed it will, because I'd be quite honest with you, I'm fairly confident of pulling off a few winners here now tomorrow. I think I've got a great little lineup here, a great team of horses, and there's some very, very big priced horses in here as well. So all things considered, I think it's well within its rights to be confident. I think we're on a bit of a roll in terms of backing winners and picking winners and different things like that. Look, at once we're on top, that's the main thing, and that's the way we want to go. But we may as well, I suppose, kick things off instead of listen to me ramble on for 2 minutes. 1:15 tomorrow, the first race off. Willie Mullins has a horse in here that's entered into the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Now, that horse there is called Arctic Warrior, at currently priced in around 9-4. Now, Decimation is the odds-on favourite for Henry the Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore, but the horse has just found himself second too many times now at this stage for me to, I suppose, warrant any considerable, I suppose, explanation to go back at him at an odds-on price. Look, he's rated 140. You know, the form definitely does stack up as the standard bearer, but it's just the fact that the horse hasn't put his head in front yet is the bit of a worry for me. And I think it's just, you're nearly better off going against an odds-on favourite in a race like this. And I just think, look at Arctic Warrior, it was third of 3 runners in its only race in France. Now, I don't know how good that form is, but obviously Willie must see something to be able to warrant entering into the Supreme Novice Hurdle. And the fact that JP McManus has bought it, that's obviously something else to warrant great respect as well. Now, 9-4 definitely looks to be considerably the best price, considering I think this is the only horse in the field that's entered into the Supreme. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. So it's interesting. Look, it's hard to know, but I just think that the fact that if Willie thinks this horse is good enough to go to the Supreme, it should be good enough to beat this field here. Now, keep an eye on a shark handling horse here called Hollowed Star for Mrs. Me. Currently priced in around 9-1. It opened up at 40-1. So, all things considered, there's a heavy punt on this horse. So whether it's bookies moving the market or whether it's actual genuine money moving it, I don't know. But I think it's interesting. The fact that it's moved from 40-1 into 9-1 in the space of a couple of hours is definitely very, very interesting. 150 and 225, both of those races are going to be patron picks for the Irish Race an Hour, so we're not going to be covering them. 3 o'clock then, it's a long road, and it certainly is from here to Downryle, but John McConnell has a very, very nice chaser on his hands here, currently priced in around 11-4. Look, it was a winner in Tremor last time out in soft to heavy ground. The only worry for me is the fact that it hasn't necessarily gone as well as can be expected in heavy ground before. Now, saying that, on overall form, this horse stands out a little bit like a country mile. The fact that it is a considerable improver over chasing fences, it's definitely something to warrant. I think it's something like 2 out of 4 for the start of the season, if I'm not mistaken. He's definitely won a couple of times now since racing resumed back in, I think it was June or July it resumed. But I just think that it's a long, long road. Simon Torrance is on board. Look, neither of them have had a winner in the past 2 weeks, which is a slight worry. The fact I think John McConnell's not from 18 and Simon Torrance I think is not from 13. So look at there's a few duck eggs to the equation, but I'd be slightly confident enough to be able to warrant that it's a long, long road is going to do the job here now tomorrow. Should handle the track fairly well. All things considered, I can't really see anything in here to be able to trouble it or warrant enough respect to really, I suppose, influence people to go and back said horse, let's just say. I think 11-4 is a generous enough price for a horse that's won a couple of times so far this season, and I just think, look at it's there to be I won't say it's there to be shot at, because it's the clear standard form at the end of the day, but I just think that I think the bookies have him a little bit large in the market, and I just think that he should be given a price of in around 9-4, 2-1 before I'd be sort of considering not backing him, let's just say. Next race then, the 335. One of two big price each way fancies now for me. This one here going in the form of Oliver McKiernan and Barry Brown, with Capicon currently priced in around 20-1. Look at it, it was a very respectable 7th out of 18 in Navan 2 times before. Look at last race, you can write it off, the fact that it was carried out by a lunatic, let's just say. But I just think that Capicon is definitely thereabouts in the weights. Look, when you think of the way Oliver McKiernan's horses are going, you look at the likes of Lanarige, that horse that was absolutely, completely, I'm trying to find a word to describe it. It was just completely wiped out at the start, and you'd nearly think that the horse was going to be pulled up from the word go, but to finish on for a very close second in Naas that day, it was just very interesting, and I just thought that Oliver McKiernan might just be turning the screw a little bit now, and he just might be, I suppose, starting to make a little bit of a go of it now. I just think that Capicon, the fact that it was 7th and it was ahead of Marshall, who was very, very close to winning in Navan on, I think it was Friday last week. It was Friday last week when Mark Walsh was actually going for a 5-timer that particular day. It was the only chance that he was going to have it. And bar, I suppose, a couple of bad jumps, I suppose 2 and 3 from home, it was definitely going to be thereabouts in the finish. There's no doubt about it. Like, it was absolutely hosing up, and it was going on to do bigger and better things. And the fact that that was his next run from that time, I think he was 9th, 2 places behind Capicon. I just think that Capicon might be a little bit, let's just say, getting a bit of a pull in the weights now. I just think that 20-1 is a little bit of an a little bit of an insult to the horse's chance, and I just think that 20-1 is a price to be availed of. We don't really know what he would have done that day in Punchestown when he was carried out. I don't really know. It's hard when to judge form when things like that happen, but I just think Capicon might be a little bit of a big price at, let's just say, 20-1 or whatever price he is now. Moving on into the 405, and this is going to be my next best of the day. My nap, actually is going to be, it's a long, long road at 11-4, I forgot to mention. But the next best of the day, the 405, is going to be Wishmore at 15-2. And this one here is definitely very interesting. Look, it was a very, very easy winner last time out in I think it was Fairy House, if I'm not mistaken. Um, that day it was 2.5 lengths or 2.25 lengths ahead of Lanarige, who we seen in Naas there on Sunday. Now, when you think of that, and when you think of the form Lanarige has run up to, like Lanarige was definitely one of the more likelier winners that particular day, and I just think that Wishmore, £5 might not stop this horse. I just think that on overall form, it's still very well in and it's still absolutely thrown in at the weights. And if it can take, I suppose, if it can come out of the run that it won in Fairy House, let's just say Fairy House, I think it was Fairy House, um, particularly well. And I suppose going on to here now tomorrow, it's just very interesting the fact that I think there's a claimer on board, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, or else it's yeah, it's either a claim or it's Philip Enright. One of the two. I know that's a very broad statement to make, but I know it's one of the two. It's generally Philip or a claimer on board that I can't think of the name of now. But um, I think overall form. Look, at to make a long story short, Wishmore is technically well thrown in, and if coming out of the race last time out in any way, I suppose, in good form, it should be thereabouts in the finish. And I think 8-1 or 15-2 is a great price to be taken. Finally, then 435. I was thinking Champagne Sparkles, currently priced in around 10-11. But there's another big, I suppose, mover in the market here, and that's coming in the form of Long Q or Long Q, whatever way you want to pronounce it. I don't know what way it's pronounced at all. But this Long Q, it's a son or a daughter to Shantou. Um, Now I can't really remember what it is, whether it's a gelding or a filly. Now it would cost 32,000 or 33,000 as a yearling, and it's well related as well. It's related to a few fairly considerable winners that have just gone out of my head now at the moment. But the fact that it was 40-1 when it opened up, and it's now been backed into 10-1 for a trainer that I rarely hear about or rarely see in terms of when reading about races. I just think it's very interesting. I don't know much about the trainer and I don't know much about the jockey. I think it's Hendrick taking £7 off. I don't even know who Hendrick is, to be perfectly honest with you. But just the fact that the horse is well related, and the fact that it should be well capable of producing a good run in sort of heavy ground. It's definitely interesting. The price tag is definitely there to be, I suppose, lifting a few eyebrows and different things like that. And look at the fact that it's such a mover in the market as well. I don't know what to make of it. Whether it is bookies moving them or not, I don't know. But I just think that it's interesting, and it should be, I suppose, worth a bit of an each way more so than anything else. I just think Champagne Sparkles is a little bit short at odds on, and it could be overturned here at a price of, say, 10-1. Let's just say at an each way perspective. But look, I'm going to leave it there. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. To all the people who have messaged me and have commented and everything else like that, thanks very much for your support. Please, I suppose, keep doing what you're doing and keep getting the word out there. The views on the videos have been absolutely unbelievable. For those who want to sign up to Patreon, basically what it is, it's €10 a month. The fact that it's the start of February now, it's actually perfect time to sign up. I'll leave a link in the description below, but what it basically gets you, it's more research tips than what we would be doing, say, for our YouTube channels. It generally funds the podcast is what its main objective is, but including that as well as the tips that we give out, we put all the names of the patron members into a draw at the end of the month, and we give away a few nice prizes. Look, at January's prize was a year's share in a horse over in England, so when all things considered, you won't get much better value for €10 a month. We keep it at that sort of rate. It's not going to go up or go down. Plenty of happy members, a good WhatsApp group as well. And I just think, look at it, for those who might, I know, look at it, it's for some and not for others. But if people were kind enough to sign up to the service and pledge, let's just say €10 a month, it is greatly appreciated, and all things considered. But look, I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you're going to be having a bet tomorrow, the very best of luck. Fingers crossed it's going to be on tomorrow, but I'm hoping it will. And that's basically it. I'll see you all tomorrow.